Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Baumgarten. Many of you know me as Reporter Gary, and today I'm here to talk to you about something that's quite disturbing. And it has to do with disinformation, dangerous disinformation that is promulgated oftentimes on the internet. And there's not a day that goes by, really, that I don't receive from somebody one or two or three different links to so called stories that are either pro-Trump or anti-Trump that may have a germ, a grain of truth to them. But really, when you look into it, it's not exactly what the writer professes it to be. And this is an attempt to sway votes, and that's bad enough. But sometimes we are moving into the danger zone when it comes to disinformation on the internet. And Saturday, I was able to watch something unfolding on the internet that I found extremely disturbing. There was a barricaded gunman situation that was unfolding in Carmel, New York, a town in Putnam County, New York. And the guy was on the internet talking about how he's an Afghan veteran and nobody's going to come and take his guns. And right away, this got picked up as the police abusing the red flag laws. Now, for those of you who don't know, these new red flag laws that are in place in certain states allow the police to go to a judge and tell the judge that there's somebody who has weapons, who's a danger to himself or others, and the judge gives them an order, a judicial order that allows them to go into the individual's house and confiscate their guns. Now, as I understand it, in most of these laws, this is a temporary confiscation that then results in some kind of a hearing and then a decision made as to if or when those guns ought to be returned to the person. Now, obviously, a lot of Second Amendment people who support the Second Amendment, find these laws to be against the Second Amendment. They're very much opposed to them. Well, this guy was tweeting out, Instagramming out information that made it look like his situation was, in fact, one of those red flag situations, that the police were coming to confiscate his guns, and this caused for there to be all kinds of nonsense on the internet. People talking about arming themselves and going to Carmel, New York in Putnam County and confronting, while armed, the police to protect this individual from the overreach by the police. Well, as it turns out, this was not a red flag situation. The police thought they had heard gunshots in the area. There was some kind of a domestic disturbance between this gentleman and his wife, and he barricaded himself, and the police tried for 8 hours and finally successfully convinced him to give himself up. And according to the news reports, there weren't any weapons involved at all. I don't know where the report of a gun being fired came from. Maybe somebody was shooting off fireworks. I don't know. But at any rate, it was not what was being reported over and over and over again on the internet. And I'm watching people saying, get your guns, meet at such and such a location, we're going to confront the police. Now we're talking about not just irritating disinformation on the internet, but very dangerous disinformation on the internet. So it's very much important that all of us take the time when we are looking at things that are posted on the internet to look at the source. Don't trust what people are saying in social media unless they can back it up with some documented facts. Obviously, it's something to look at. If there is a concern about the red flag laws, we should talk about that. We should have open discourse about this situation, but we should not be immediately pushing the panic button. We should not be arming ourselves. We should not be confronting the police. And that's what people were doing were talking about doing in Carmel. Now, as it turns out, the guy gave himself up after 8 hours, and that was the end of it. And to my knowledge, there were no confrontations with the police. But just some of the stuff that I was seeing posted, I'm on my way, I've got my guns, meet me at such and such a location, was cause for concern. And I'm sure the police were viewing the same things I was viewing. and they were taking precautions to protect themselves. But we should not allow our society to get into this kind of a position. Now, one other thing, a side note, that a lot of people probably aren't as attuned to as perhaps I and my fellow reporters are, but I've noticed that in many jurisdictions, not all, but in many jurisdictions, the police are not all that forthcoming with information any longer. And I'm not saying that that's the case yesterday in Putnam County, but I am saying that I have experienced it myself on the street. I will go cover a breaking story and the police will not give any information. And then the reporters have to strive to get whatever facts they could get from witnesses, which may or may not be substantiated later by the police. But I think that police departments that withhold information should reevaluate their policies, because it just allows for the social media, which is faster, frankly, than the news media in getting information out, maybe not as accurately, but faster. It just allows for this kind of disinformation to be disseminated near and far and cause for people to react in a manner which at the very least gives them angst, and at the very worst could cause a confrontation, perhaps between people who are misdirected and the police. What do you think about this? If you like what I had to say, please give this a thumbs up. If you think I'm full of hooey, give me a thumbs down. Write your comments at the bottom. Please subscribe, hit the alarm button so you'll be notified the next time I have one of these chats with you. And as I like to say at the end of these little gatherings, peace out.